Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and his mother lived all alone in a valley ringed by mountains. They were poor, so poor their cupboards were bare and they had no money to buy food. "We'll starve soon," said Jack's mother, "and we have nothing left to sell, except for the cow. You'll have to take Milky White to market, Jack, and mind you get the best price you can for her." So Jack tied a rope around the cow's neck and led her away. He hadn't gone far when he met an old man with bright eyes and a bushy beard. "Stop there, boy," said the old man. "I will give you 5 magic beans for your cow." "Oh no," said Jack. "Mother wants me to sell her at the market. We need money, not beans." "Aha," said the old man, "but who knows what these beans will bring? They're magic, you know. They could bring you fortune, adventure, treasure." Jack's eyes grew round in wonder. "It's a deal," he cried, and he handed over Milky White, snatched up the beans, and raced home, proud with what he had done. When he got home, he showed his mother the beans, and she was horrified. "I wanted gold coins, not old beans," she fumed. "Jack, Jack, what were you thinking? How are we going to buy food now?" "But they're magic beans," said Jack. "At least, the old man said they were magic." "You've been tricked, you fool," said his mother, and she took the bag and threw it out the window, beans and all. That night, Jack went to bed on an empty, grumbling stomach. "I've ruined everything," he sighed. "Milky White is gone, so we don't even have any milk, and all I got for her were some rotten beans. How was I foolish enough to believe that old man? There's no such thing as magic." But the next morning, Jack opened his window to see a twisting, turning, living, magical beanstalk. "The beans were magic after all," cried Jack. Looking up, he could see the beanstalk spiral its way above the clouds, and he couldn't resist. Here was an adventure before his very eyes. He reached out, grabbed hold of a branch, and began to climb. Up, up, up he went, until his cottage was no more than a tiny dot in the distance. He climbed past soaring birds and through the airy blue until he reached the topmost tip of the beanstalk. And there, at the beanstalk's end, stood a castle in the clouds, and on the doorstep of the castle, a giantess. "What have we here?" asked the giantess, picking up Jack as if he were no heavier than a feather. "A little human boy, I see," she said, her eyes as large and round as twin moons. "Well, it's not safe for you here. My husband has a taste for humans. He'll munch you and crunch you in a moment, a little scrap of a thing like you." "Oh, please," said Jack, "I'm so very, very hungry, and I wouldn't be any trouble. Couldn't you give me just the tiniest of snacks, and then I'll be gone, I promise. I haven't had a meal for days, and I've climbed all this way." "Very well," said the giantess, "but whatever you do, don't let my husband catch you." And she carried him through to the kitchen. Jack feasted on breadcrumbs bigger than his body, and mounds of cheese as high as houses. He was just congratulating himself on his adventure when all of a sudden, thump, thump, thump! The castle walls trembled, and a great booming voice thundered down the hallway. "Fee, fi, fo, fum! I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." "Quick!" gasped the giantess. "That's my husband come back for his lunch. Hide in here," she whispered, dropping Jack into a sugar jar, "and not a pip or a squeak out of you." The giant sniffed the air. "What's this I smell? Is it boy?" "Oh no," said his wife. "No boys here. If you smell anything at all, it must be the remains of the boy you had for breakfast." "Hm," said the giant. "Then bring me my lunch. I'm hungry enough to eat a horse." His wife hurried away and returned with a tray. All this time Jack stayed as still as he could in the sugar jar, hardly daring to breathe. After the giant had gobbled his lunch, he sat back in his chair and called out, "Wife, bring me my hen, the one that lays the golden eggs." His wife brought him the hen, and this time curiosity got the better of Jack. He lifted up the lid and peered out of the jar. Sure enough, there was a hen, and suddenly, plop, out came a real golden egg. The giant sighed with satisfaction and then sank back into his chair once more. Soon he was fast asleep with snores that shook the castle walls. "Now's your chance," said the giant's wife, scooping Jack out of the sugar jar. "Be off with you, my dear, and if you value your life, don't ever come back." Jack took off like a spring hare. In one bound he was down from the table and across the floor. But then he thought of his poor mother, cold and hungry at home, and of that fat, clucking hen laying eggs of pure gold, and he couldn't resist. He turned, picked up the hen, and made a dash for the door. "Squawk!" cried the hen. "Squawk! Squawk!" The giant woke. "What's going on?" he cried. "Hey!" he added, spotting Jack beetling across the floor. "There is a boy, and he's stealing my hen. How dare he? I'm going to catch him and gobble him up. Come back, boy! Come back now!" Jack didn't stop, not for a second. He sped down the beanstalk, his feet fumbling for their holds, slipping and sliding down the treacherous trunk. And above him came the giant, making the beanstalk bend and sway. "Mother," called Jack, "bring the axes! Please bring the axes!" His only hope was to make it down before the giant. "I'll get you yet, boy!" yelled the giant, making a grab for Jack. But Jack twisted from his grasp. He tumbled down the last part and landed in a heap on the ground, still clutching the squawking hen. "We've got to chop down the beanstalk," cried Jack, "before the giant makes it down." Jack and his mother hacked away as hard as they could, and with each swift, hard stroke the blades of the axes bit through the beanstalk, making it wobble, first this way and then that. "Stop that!" boomed the giant. "Stop that, I say!" With one final stroke, Jack sliced through the stalk. The giant yelled as he fell through the air. Down, down, down he came, hitting the ground with such force Jack knew he would never be troubling them again. Life after that was much less adventurous for Jack. The beanstalk to the castle in the clouds was gone. As for the golden eggs, they brought Jack and his mother a new home and food enough to last a lifetime. But sometimes he couldn't help wishing for just one more magic bean.